Hi, this is David Biven with Pinpoint. Welcome to the training for the Instant Alarm 5000. So today I'd like to tell you about the components of the system that you're going to be using. First of all, our system is a staff duress alarm system. It's a personal alarm. It's a panic button that you wear. So instead of having to find a button on a wall or under a desk, you're actually wearing the device. So you'll be wearing one of two devices. You'll either have a perpetual PIT or you'll have a badge PIT. PIT stands for Personal Infrared Transmitter, and that's how you call for assistance or help. You'll also notice that in the ceiling of each room and each hallway in the day rooms in which we've covered, there's an infrared receiver unit. Those are mounted in the ceiling, and that's where the signal from this hits to let your colleagues know exactly where you are. Also, outside of each room, there's an overdoor light. So if you're in a room and you set off your alarm, as people are responding, as your colleagues are responding to your call, then they'll know exactly where you are and exactly the type of call based on the light that's flashing over the room. We'll also go over the displays that are located at the nurse's station and other spots in your unit. We'll also teach you how to charge your PIT and how to test your PIT before you go out on the shift that day. The first thing I'd like to show you is the perpetual PIT. So this device is worn externally. We want you to wear it either at waist level or on a pocket of a scrub. You want to make sure that it is worn externally. This is a flashlight, so you want to make sure that it's not in a pocket or not covered up. There are several components of the PIT. You'll notice that it has a clip at the top. This is what you use to connect it to your scrubs or your waistband. The PIT pulls apart. That's how you activate it in an emergency, but you'll notice there are 6 very powerful infrared lights here in the top of the PIT. That's where the signal is emitted, and it's how it triggers the alarm in the room. You'll notice that there's a small hole in the side of the device. That's where you charge the device. That's where you energize the PIT. And there's a rubberized portion on the bottom with a button. That's the assistance button. When activating the PIT in assistance mode, it's important not to cover the cap of the PIT. So you push the button on the bottom of the PIT while leaving the top of the PIT uncovered. If you're in the room with a patient and you find yourself in a situation where you're just not comfortable, it's not an emergency, but you'd like your colleagues to know where you are, all you have to do is push the small button on the back of the badge PIT or push the button on the bottom of the fob device. Immediately, a silent signal is sent and your colleagues are alerted to exactly where you are. If it's an emergency, all you have to do is push the large button on the back of the device or pull the fob from its pin, and immediately your colleagues know exactly where you are and help is on the way. When the alarm is activated, the display will show exactly where you are so your colleagues can respond in the shortest amount of time possible. On the display, it will show the Pinpoint receiver number, and it will show the exact room and location where you are at that point. It will also indicate whether it's an assistance call or an emergency call. On the regular size display, assistance will be noted by the letter A, and an emergency call will be denoted by the letter E. On the larger display, you'll see that assistance is spelled out on the display, and emergency is also spelled out on the display. Also, when you activate the alarm, a light will flash outside your room. It will flash green for assistance and red for emergency. This is so responders know exactly where they're going and know the type of situation in which they're entering. Our system is designed to indicate the exact type of situation that's indicated. So therefore, we have 2 types of tone to let your colleagues know the type of alarm that's been called. There's an intermittent tone for assistance calls, and there's a constant tone for emergency calls. Once the situation has been resolved, to reset the system, all you do is turn the reset key, which is located at the main display. Now here's what you do before your shift. We want you to select a PIT, we want you to energize a PIT, we want you to test your PIT, then you clip your PIT on and off you go. If you're using a badge PIT, there's no need to energize, but we do want you to test it before you go on your shift. So here's how you're going to energize your PIT. You'll notice there's a small hole in the side of the PIT. You plug it into the energizing station. You push the button that says push. A green light will flash. When that green light goes solid, that means your PIT is fully energized. It'll take less than 18 seconds and you're ready to go. We want you to always energize your PIT before you start your shift, and if you've ever used your PIT for an emergency, we want you to re-energize after the emergency situation. We've also provided you with a pit testing station. It's a way to test your pit before you go out on your shift to make sure everything's working fine. It's a box with sleeves that contains a receiver unit. So all you have to do is place your pit inside, push the button, pull the pin, and make sure everything's working fine. Remember, when you place your pit inside the testing station, not to cover the cap on the top of the pit. All you do is place the pit inside the box, press the button on the bottom of the pit. In assistance, the green light will flash. To test it in emergency, you pull the pin. Remember to replace the pin before you pull the pit out of the testing station. When testing the badge pit, place the badge pit inside the device, push the small button to test for assistance, and the large button to test for emergency. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your nurse manager or ask your hospital administration or give us a call at Pinpoint, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.